actually going to mix it up today for this segment.
Are we really?
We always talk about like our favorite game and player props to win you money.
Yeah.
But we got all of next week to talk about that. So let's talk about which game and player props we might, not love. So we're going to stay away from them so that you don't lose money. So we are helping you.
You're talking like bad value, like too high of a number.
Yeah, like stuff that our guys are saying, you know what, there's no value here. Let's stay away from it.
Gotcha.
Which quarterback or passing prop are you going to be staying away from in this spot, Julian?
Talk to us.
Stafford over 1.5 touchdowns, minus 235. I don't know, just giving you some ideas.
Yeah, well, this segment is great. As everyone knows, I'm a natural hater.
Yes.
Negative thoughts all over the place. And you can't lose any bets that you don't make, so I can't lose anybody any money by giving my advice here. A quarterback prop that I am fading, the Super Bowl MVP favorite is Matt Stafford at even money. I will not be touching that prop whatsoever. For starters, if you like the Bengals side here, if you're a Bengals money line bettor, that's been sitting at plus 170 most of the week. I believe it's down to plus 160 now. You have to take a portion of that bet, 20 to 30% of your bet, and place it on Joe Burrow plus 225. That's a big gap there. It's over 60 cents in juice, so that makes sense to go to Joe Burrow. For Stafford, you have a guy that arguably the top 3 guy in MVP voting is going to be Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's been the MVP a lot of these playoff games so far. So Cooper Kupp at plus 600 is much better value than Matt Stafford. So it's really going to have to take a very even game from a lot of different guys. Plus you have the Rams pass rush that is going to be quite a narrative against the Bengals offensive line. It's going to take a very even game where Stafford is just okay and the Rams win for him to kind of win that award in my mind. Most of the volume is going to go to Kupp. So I'm fading Stafford for Super Bowl MVP.
Jeff, which quarterback prop are you fading?
An interesting little hedge if you do have a Cincinnati Bengals money line bet, and I will. It's to sprinkle a little on Cooper Kupp, a plus 600. I like that from Julian. Love that plaid, by the way, too, pal. I'm going to fade Matthew Stafford here. I'm going to fade him in the touchdown prop section. You mentioned it, Jesse. He's minus 235. Minus 235 to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Those are ridiculous odds. He's plus 175 to take the under. The Cincinnati Bengals pass defense is definitely the strength of their team. This is a team that's allowed under 2 passing touchdowns in 10 of their games already this year. This is a good secondary. They've been creating turnovers in the red zone in the last few games as well. The way you score against the Bengals anyways is to kind of pound the ball once you get inside the red zone. But Cincinnati's just been a good red zone defense. They've been allowing scores at just a 33% rate in red zone opportunities over their last 3 games. I think you're going to see a lot of field goals from the Rams here. And I love the odds you're getting to fade Stafford here. Look, touchdowns are highly variable anyways. Plus 175 for him to only throw 1 or 2 under 2 touchdowns. I think those are really good odds to fade Stafford.
Steve, where are you going?
Yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of Jeff here. The juice is just so much on this at minus 235. It's absolutely insane to want to pay that premium when there's a million other things that you could be taking here. Is there a good likelihood that this could happen? Very much so, because you look at the past games that he's done this. He's done this in 5 games in a row, hitting at least 2 passing touchdowns, but I'm not looking to pay a premium for this one here. So absolutely fading the over 1.5 touchdowns from Stafford.
All right, is there a running back or rushing prop that you just don't care for, Jeff?
So, we may be all on the same page here, maybe not. I don't know what the guys have cooked up, but under Cam Akers, 63.5 rushing yards. I don't know how you don't take that. I just really don't. Obviously, there's a multitude of different factors here. We've talked about the poor play of Cam Akers already. But there's he's injured. He's not even practicing this week. He's got a shoulder injury. He played on less than 40% of the snaps last week. And oh, by the way, Darrell Henderson Jr., Sean McVay is talking about seriously activating this guy for the Super Bowl. It's very possible we get a 3-back rotation here. The Bengals, yes, they're attackable on the ground. They made Jerick McKinnon look pretty good on a few runs last week. But for Cam Akers to get over 64 yards, he might need 20 carries. And I just don't think that they're going to be there in this game. I also think the Bengals have a good shot at creating some turnovers and putting the Rams in more of a pass-heavy mode anyways. So I'm fading Cam Akers' rush total this week. This is an easy one for me.
Steve, you talked already this week that you're going hard on the under there for Akers rushing total.
Yeah, but that's actually not even the one I'm going with. Matt Stafford's rushing yards are up to 5.5. That is too big of a number here. And this is because, he's gone over that number in 3 straight games. Let me tell you, this is not something that Matt Stafford is going to do on the regular. Not going to design runs from Matt Stafford. That is just not going to happen. But you look at his season total. He has 79 rushing yards on the year. You go, oh, that's actually not too bad. 43 of those came against the Cardinals. So to say that was more of a one-off would be, pretty egregious to say. So 5.5, and this is somebody too who's at, he can easily go backwards. If the Rams win, they can easily kneel down, lose some yards there. We've seen that happen before. 5.5, this number feels like they're trying to react to what's happened before. Stafford is not running on his own. And quite frankly, he's not going to have a lot of pressure against his Bengals defensive line. They're not going to be getting a ton of pressure on him to begin with. So it's not like he's going to be trying to escape from that either. This just feels too high. It's an overreaction. Give me the under 5.5 rushing yards from Matt Stafford.
Which bet would you like to fade here, Jules, in the rushing department?
Well, I'm with Geoff. I know Steve and I were on the Akers under rushing last week, and it came through. I'll go and just kind of take this to a different level in the specials tab. There are a lot of good ones in there for this game, but one that is not a good one, in my opinion, would be either or Cam Akers or Joe Mixon, the 2 starting running backs, to go over 99.5 rushing yards. So you're getting plus 150 on that, I believe it is, on essentially saying we'll either starting back have a 100-yard game. I think we for sure can say that Cam Akers won't, because if Henderson's back, now you're looking at even a 3-man backfield, and Akers just hasn't had the production. I don't feel like Mixon's going to get there, so getting only plus 150 on either of these guys to have a 100-yard game just doesn't feel like good value to me in a tab that is full of a lot of different plus money value.
All right, how about which wide receiver prop is one that you're going to be passing on here? Steve, which one sticks out to you?
Yeah, so looking at some of these here, like T. Higgins at over 5.5 receptions, just feels a little bit too high. There's so many mouths to feed in this Bengals offense. And obviously T. Higgins was a huge factor last week at over 100 receiving yards in that game. But this is not somebody who's getting the consistent targets. And this just feels like maybe it's a reception or two too high. I know he's had a couple of big games as of late, but I would dare to say this is one of the tougher secondaries that they faced thus far. His production has really been all over the place. And it really just kind of comes down to who the ball is going to go to in this one. The emergence of Joe Mixon getting some targets out of the backfield, what really kind of has me down on some of these reception numbers. This is somebody who was hard-pressed to get maybe even 1 or 2 in a game. Now he's getting a handful per game. So when you factor that into the mix, that they're more willing to throw to Mixon, kind of takes away from some of the other receivers here, especially if the Bengals are trying to get the ball out quick with some of these guys that with all the pressure Joe Burrow is going to be under. So Higgins at 5.5 feels like a reception too high, so I'm going to stay away from that one.
All right, Jules, which one are you staying away from?
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be betting on Cooper Kupp in this game. I said I'm probably going to put in a Super Bowl MVP bet on Cooper Kupp. So kind of silly, but one thing I won't be betting is the minus 190 anytime TD. Does it happen? Probably. Am I going to lay minus 190? No. I just think there's better ways to back Kupp, the plus 600 Super Bowl MVP. I believe he's right around even money for over 8.5 receptions. If you go to his receiving yards, over 103, 104, I believe it's been floating around. I like that better. My favorite prop in this game on Cooper Kupp is his long reception over 27.5 yards. Cooper Kupp has had a reception for 28 or more yards in 16 of 20 games this season. And 2 of those unders were 24, so missing by just a few yards if he could get him a few more yards after the catch there. So that's my favorite bet on Kupp. I don't need to lay 190 on anything when we're getting standard juice on all his other props and plus 600 on Super Bowl MVP.
All right, Geoff, which wide receiver prop are you passing on?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way I'm betting Cooper Kupp a minus 190 to score a touchdown. I'll go to the same philosophy as Steve because I'm actually very bullish on the wide receivers in this game. We talked about Beckham and Higgins receiving totals, but I think an area to fade is just the pure volume totals for the Cincinnati Bengals receivers. So going under on the 5.5 totals is great. I'm just going to go to Jamar Chase, and I'm going to say you should take the under on 5.5 on Jamar Chase for the simple fact you're getting slightly better odds to do it. I mean, it's plus 115 versus T. Higgins at minus 120. You look at Jamar Chase, his productions have been a little bit all over the place too. 7 of his last 11 games, he's gone under this total just in terms of receptions. It sounds crazy because he puts up big games, and sometimes he does it like goes over 100 yards on like 4 catches. So you've got to think, again, you've got an elite defender back there in Jalen Ramsey, and the Bengals do spread the ball out. They're using Mixon more in the pass game, as Steve alluded to. I'll take the better odds here at plus 115 and fade Jamar Chase's. Fade him on the reception total again. I don't think you want to touch his yardage total on the under, but the receptions, sure.
Jules, kicking here and special teams. You just skipping this whole section because it's been said kickers and punters are not people?
Well, Evan Never Miss McPherson would argue with you. I think that in general, a lot of people do skip this section, and some people will be betting overs on McPherson props, which is fine. To be honest, yeah, I'm not going to do too much breaking down of the kickers section here. I don't mind betting the over in punts. I like the under in the game, so I like some nerves. I like a first half under, so I think we could see some punts early and get that over. I will say, we'll see if there's more to open on DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's the prop I want to keep my eye out for. No touchback on the opening kickoff. Generally in the NFL, you get touchbacks on the opening kick. However, in the Super Bowl, 7 of the last 8 opening kickoffs have not been a touchback. And the no, you're generally getting plus 200 or better. Last year, I think it closed plus 250 and minus 300 on the yes for a touchback. And it just hasn't been happening in the Super Bowl, whether it's kickers getting nervous or whatever. So if that bet pops up, no touchback on the opening kick for plus 200 or better, that's what I will be looking at.
Geoff, I'm not quite sure how often you pursue like kicking or special teams props, but is there one that you would not touch?
I mean, why would I fade the kicking props? This is the Super Bowl. Of course we're betting on kicking props. It's like the best part of it. Look, if you look at this game, the one thing I don't want to fade in the kicking department is the field goal kickers. I think we've got 2 teams how much Sean McVay loves taking field goals. And then you've got a great kicker on the other side in McLaughlin, who just basically doesn't miss now. So one area you can fade is the punters. Under 6.5 total punts for this game. The LA Rams attempted the 4th fewest punts per game this year. The Cincinnati Bengals have been trending with lower punts per game all season towards the end of the year as well. Under 6.5 total punts. Don't fade the field goal kickers.